The US dollar has ruled global finance for decades, but the world's money system is quietly shifting. Some are calling it a dollar war. But what's really happening? Today, we're breaking down how the US is facing growing challenges and what it means for the global economy. Chapter 1. The dollar reigns supreme, but for how long? The US dollar has long been the world's most powerful currency. Around 60% of global foreign reserves are held in dollars, and trillions of dollars in international trade are invoiced in USD. This gives the United States unmatched economic influence, from borrowing cheaply to setting global financial rules. But cracks are forming. Rising US debt, inflation, and political uncertainty have prompted other nations to explore alternatives. While the dollar's supremacy remains strong today, these shifts signal that its uncontested dominance may not last forever. The world is slowly preparing for a more multipolar financial system, where the dollar faces real competition. Chapter 2. Who's betting against the dollar? Countries are quietly testing alternatives to the dollar. BRICS nations, China, Russia, and parts of Europe are exploring trade in local currencies and creating cross-border payment systems. Central banks are diversifying reserves, increasing gold holdings, and experimenting with digital currencies. This doesn't mean the dollar is collapsing, but global reliance on it is slowly weakening. These moves are strategic. Nations want to reduce exposure to US economic policy and political risks. The so-called currency war is about influence rather than immediate conflict. Over time, these efforts could reshape international trade and finance, slowly building a world less dependent on a single currency. Chapter 3. U.S. policy under the microscope. The dollar's global strength depends heavily on U.S. fiscal and economic policy. Decisions on debt management, interest rates, trade, and government spending directly impact confidence in the currency. When policies appear uncertain, other nations accelerate efforts to diversify away from the dollar. Confidence is fragile. Even small missteps can influence global reserves and investment flows. While the U.S. remains a safe destination for capital, these pressures highlight how sensitive the dollar is to domestic policy. The way the U.S. handles its economy today will determine whether the dollar maintains dominance or gradually shares influence with emerging alternatives, shaping the next decade of global finance. Chapter 4. Winners and losers in the global currency game. The dollar's dominance benefits some and creates risks for others. Economies tied closely to the U.S. enjoy stability and liquidity, while countries seeking independence face financial exposure. Investors are diversifying into gold, local currencies, and digital assets to hedge risk. Companies engaged in global trade must account for currency fluctuations, and governments are developing alternative systems to reduce dependence on the dollar. This competition is creating new winners and losers, reshaping trade, investment, and policy worldwide. The dollar still dominates, but its influence is increasingly challenged. The financial landscape is shifting, and countries are positioning themselves for a more multipolar currency system. Chapter 5. Will the dollar survive? The dollar is likely to remain dominant for years, but change is inevitable. Countries are experimenting with digital currencies, cross-border platforms, and alternative trade arrangements. Gold and other stable assets are becoming more important as hedges. The dollar war isn't about a sudden collapse. It's about influence and strategic positioning. Over the next decade, the U.S. will face real competition, and how it responds will shape the global economy. The question remains, will the dollar maintain its crown? Or will emerging alternatives gradually share the stage, marking a new era in global finance? Do you think it will stay on top, or is a shift coming? Comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.